Cheers from the crowd downstairs as we get going here for the second time in the men's under 17-8. And here they come, 8 boats across. Again, this should be a quick race. Under 17-8s, all these athletes under 17 years of age. Let me set the field while it still is bunched up. Furthest from the camera is Triangle Rowing in Lane 1. Lane 2 is Atlanta Juniors. Lane 3, White Rock. Lane 4, Community Rowing. Lane 5, Chicago. Lane 6, OKC River Sport. Lane 7, DC National. And closest to the camera with those 3 stars on the blade is TriStar. And it does look like DC National there trying to punch out there at 250 as they have at least one fan outside that is making some noise. Also, CRI is going in the red boat. Those are kind of your 2 that have pushed out just a little bit. Seeing that Black Resolute from Chicago also in the mix. So that's what's going on here as they come through right about where they stopped the last time, 350 meters in.
Just over a minute into this race, we did have that callback there earlier, and now we are underway again, and it is CRI in that red hull that has had the fastest start. Chicago in the black hull right next to them went along with them, and then over here in lane 7, closest to shore, out of DC National has also gone with them as well. But now as these crews are coming off of those high strokes, those initial 5, and then maybe anywhere between 10 and 30 strokes for the continuation of their start sequence, now that they're getting into the body of their piece, their base rates, it is clumping up those crews. Anyone that got a little bit of a jump other than CRI, who did jump out, and they are lengthening out. So CRI in the red hull there in the center of the picture is our clear leader at this point, and they're extending their lead, but everyone else is trading leads a little bit for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, 8th, 7th and 8th places in this 8-boat C final in the men's under 17 8s.
Look at these times. How many are going to be 136 as they came through 500 meters? At least 4 of them. That's how competitive this one is. CRI is out in front. It's about all we know. Does look like in the adjacent lane to CRI, Chicago continues to push out just a little bit along with DC National. But right in between the 2 of them is OKC River Sport. And you just, I mean, if it ended here, we'd have multiple more photo finishes. So let's see how these 8 boats are going to come down the race course, particularly in this middle 1,000. Right now it's CRI in control. And you see that white boat there, that's DC National right in front of us. And they are in a solid 2nd place. They have moved out just enough on Chicago for me to say that at the moment.
And it looked like that as you were talking, David, that OKC River Sport is now pulling up level with the field as well. And if you look at them over there, White Rock and Atlanta Juniors also keeping themselves in the mix, but making it even more clear that they want to make the places 2 through 8 anybody's ball game as we get through this middle portion of the race. Still CRI out in front as our clear leaders. They are not letting anything go at this point. Chicago was going with them early, but now CRI has broken almost clear of what appears to be clear water on almost the remainder of the field. Perhaps DC National, the only boat that they have yet to shake, as it does appear that DC National is the boat that is currently in 2nd place here. Into the 2nd 1,000, the 3rd 500 of this race. I'm taking a look at the bunch in the middle, and it looks over on the far side of the course that a move is being made. I can't quite see who it is over on the far side. It's perhaps Triangle or Atlanta Juniors out there looking to get back in, see if they can put themselves up in at least 2nd and 3rd place. But it looks like the hats that they're wearing, there's momentum made over on the far side of the course in that dark hull. Looks like, is it Atlanta? Juniors. Atlanta Juniors. It is Atlanta Juniors it looks like they made a move somewhere midway through that 3rd 500 to give themselves an advantage over Triangle on the opposite side of them, and certainly an advantage over White Rock on the inside of them. So now it looks as though Atlanta Juniors, Chicago OKC River Sport, and DC National are the crews that are vying for that spot position behind CRI, still out in front in that red hull as we enter the last 500 meters of this race.
DC National trying to hold off Chicago. Those are your top 3 is CRI, DC National, Chicago. And you can see just striking distance there for the boat from OKC River Sport, as well as at the top of the race course, Atlanta Juniors. As they come through 1,500 meters, you're going to see the gap there. It's about a half a length of open water back to DC National. DC National with about a seat in the deck ahead of Chicago. And then it was Atlanta Juniors just slightly ahead there of the boat from OKC Riversport. So Atlanta Juniors, as you mentioned, Lindsay, in that third 500 really found some speed that they didn't have prior to that. They've gotten really into the mix, only a couple of seconds behind second place at this point. So it's going to come down to it again. It's CRI out in front, but then everybody else is close enough to make some waves here. Who's going to have the moves? Who's going to have the cadence to try to test it? Who has some energy left in the tank for their last race at Youth Nationals? This is the men's under 17 eights. And if you blink, you're going to miss the finish here. CRI out in front, and then it is DC National. It is the boat from Chicago. It's a boat from Atlanta Juniors. They're all clumped together. They're all moving together very fast, and everyone's going for it.
And as we were seeing in the early portion of this last 500 of the race, it looked like DC National took more of a lead over Chicago. Chicago took back part of that lead, so they're surging hard. They're charging hard. We've seen boats out of Chicago have great closing 250s here. Atlanta Juniors completely changed where they were in the early portion of this race. So those three boats across for second place here. CRI still out in front by Clearwater. And Atlanta Juniors, the move that they took in the third 500 has given them fantastic position here. And it does look like they are the ones contending with DC National for second place. Chicago dipping back just a little bit, but still enough strokes to be taken that it could still switch. Going to be yet again another photo finish, and out here in lane 8, TriStar is pouring on the heat, putting pressure on Chicago. Does Chicago even see what's happening to them? Is TriStar going to sneak in there for a top 4 finish? Too close.
That was basically a simultaneous horn there for second and third, DC National and Atlanta Juniors. So another photo finish that you're going to see probably pop up on here now as you see the times come through. A tenth of a second separating those two. It's telling us DC National just clipped Atlanta Juniors at the finish line, but we didn't even have a chance to tell you the rest of the field because of how quickly everybody came across the line there. TriStar with a tremendous push to get even ahead of Chicago out of lane 8 to finish that race. That was the men's under 17 8C final here at our 2022 U.S. Rowing Youth National Championships from Nathan Benderson Park in Sarasota, Bradenton, Florida.